As the year 2023 draws to a close, it is time to reflect upon the past and anticipate the future. To that end, we have prepared a special episode for you today, in which we will present 5 space-related topics that will likely attract a lot of attention in 2024. Several launch vehicles are anticipated to make their inaugural launch in 2024. A majority of these will be classified as light launchers, yet there will be some more powerful rockets. For instance, the European Ariane 6 is anticipated to make its maiden flight, while Chinese company Space Pioneer is readying the Tianlong 3 with a payload capacity of up to 17 tons to low Earth orbit. The US Vulcan rocket from United Launch Alliance, which was narrowly missed for its 2023 debut, is scheduled to launch for the first time on the 8th of January. But the most powerful launch vehicle with an anticipated premiere in 2024 is the Blue Origin's New Glenn. This launcher is designed to transport approximately 45 tons of cargo to low Earth orbit. The maiden flight is scheduled for August, carrying 2 Escapade spacecraft with mission focused on studying the magnetosphere of Mars. The first crewed Starliner spacecraft is planned to embark to the International Space Station in mid-April. Astronauts Barry Wilmore and Sunita Williams will spend a few days on the station before departing on their return journey to Earth. This manned test mission is the final major step prior to attaining certification for operational use. The Starliner project has been postponed for several years. Even if the manned test flight is accomplished punctually, it is uncertain whether Starliner will conduct its inaugural operational mission next year. A Dream Chaser cargo space shuttle, Tenacity, is scheduled to arrive at the station in April. Demonstrating its abilities during this mission, it will be launched on a second specimen of the Vulcan rocket. In 2024, the Japanese HTV-X cargo spacecraft is also expected to make its debut, launched by a Japanese H-3 launch vehicle. We must not forget the Indian Gaganyaan program. India intends to conduct up to 3 orbital test missions in 2024. Although the spacecraft is intended for carrying a crew in the future, these tests will remain unmanned for the present. In recent memory, the US DART spacecraft mission, which deliberately impacted the asteroid Dimorphos in September 2022, remains a salient example of the feasibility of altering the trajectory of an asteroid. This knowledge could prove invaluable should the Earth ever be threatened by a similar celestial body. The DART mission has yielded invaluable data. However, much of it needs to be put within a broader context. We possess scant knowledge of the impacted asteroid and its internal composition, and yet it is the internal composition that is crucial in properly comprehending the effects of the impact. Therefore, the European Space Agency has prepared the Hera mission, slated for launch on a Falcon 9 in October. Upon arriving at the impacted asteroid 2 years later, it will commence its study, utilizing not only the scientific instruments on board, but also 2 small CubeSats. It is anticipated that 2024 will be a hectic year in the vicinity of the Moon. On January 8th, Astrobotic's Peregrine lunar lander is slated to launch on the Vulcan rocket, while the Japanese Space Agency is aiming to land its SLIM lander on January 19th. For a change, Falcon 9 is slated to launch in February, bearing the Nova C lunar lander from Intuitive Machines. Moreover, the same company is readying at least one more similar mission for 2024. In March, China is anticipated to launch the Queqiao-2 satellite on the Long March 8 launch vehicle in order to facilitate the transmission of data between Earth and the Chang'e 6 spacecraft on the far side of the Moon. Its launch on a Long March 5 is scheduled for May. Chang'e 6 is to become the first spacecraft ever to deliver samples from the far side of the Moon to Earth. A Falcon Heavy launch, carrying the Griffin lunar lander from Astrobotic, is scheduled for November. Griffin is anticipated to touch down near the south pole of the Moon, whereupon it will deploy the Viper rover. The rover's mission is to map the distribution of resources in the area, with particular emphasis on water ice, which could be utilized by astronauts in the future. Officially, the Artemis II mission is planned for 2024, during which 4 astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft will fly by the Moon. However, given the current delay in the schedule, it is probable that NASA will soon announce a new launch date of this highly attractive mission. The most anticipated launch of 2024 from the scientific point of view is planned for October, when the Falcon Heavy is expected to carry the Europa Clipper spacecraft. Weighing 6 metric tons at launch, the spacecraft will arrive at Jupiter in April of 2030. As the name suggests, Europa Clipper will focus on the moon Europa, which has been tantalizing scientists for years. From observations so far, it appears to have a layer of ice several kilometers thick on its surface. Beneath it, there could be an ocean of liquid water tens of kilometers deep. In fact, Europa may contain more water than the entire Earth. No wonder this world is talked about as a place where life could exist. Europa Clipper will employ cutting-edge instruments to investigate Europa's characteristics with a focus on its potential habitability. However, due to Europa's orbit in the radiation belt around Jupiter, the spacecraft is unable to orbit directly around the Moon. Consequently, it will be guided into an orbit around Jupiter, on which it will make nearly 50 flybys of Europa. This will significantly reduce the radiation on the onboard electronics, while still allowing for the mapping of the entire surface of this icy moon. Thank you for watching this episode of Spaceflight News, and for your support throughout 2023. We wish you success, joy, and, most importantly, good health in the coming year. May we continue to explore the wonders of space to the fullest.